I'm standing on a log right now trying to keep my balance. And I failed. Oh, that's horrible. Got another blinded Sphinx moth here, and this one is fluttering its wings pretty much to spread pheromones. You will often see them doing that, and sometimes both males and females will do so. Here's the moth at rest. Look at the colors. I love that pinkish magenta going on. Take a lesson from toads. They will often bury themselves in earth to conserve moisture during dry spells, but it also helps keep them from overheating. Good tip. That little mushroom is called deceiver. Not sure why. Probably because you can't trust it. But what's cooler is this black nightshade, eastern black nightshade. So it's got these nightshade leaves and flowers. But the berries are the real beautiful part. Perfect black little berries. This little plant here is sweet pepper bush, and you can actually make soap out of this plant. Do your homework if you want to know how. But I can tell you one very short story. One time I ate some of the little seeds. They have mild laxative properties. See, corn snakes like to hide in things like this, and but again, so do mice and chipmunks and just about everything else. But these are good spots for corn snakes. Hollowed out pine trees. This piece of beauty happens to be known as stagerbush. I think it gets its name because livestock may or may not stagger around after consuming this plant, but it might also refer to the way the blooms kind of stagger from side to side along the stem. What's that red stuff? Look how perfect these antlion cones are. This is what I use out here. This is a portable power generator. I like to just call it a battery. So something I like to do when I'm setting up the sheet is actually anchor the bottom so that the sheet is on an angle. That allows an easier viewing surface for me, but I actually believe that gives better exposure to insects that might be flying by out in the distance. You know, if it's straight up and down like this, they might not see it, but if they're flying by overhead, they have a better chance of seeing that reflecting light if it's on an angle. Of course, I anchor it because you got a good wind and breeze and stuff. I ordered this UV because I wanted something that I could throw maybe in a bag and carry it with me without breaking it, especially if you're camping. Useful stuff. Especially if you have a car. You don't want to carry one of those in your backpack. Yeah. I hope it doesn't rain tonight. It might. Okay, so I actually forgot that I wanted to head down a certain road because I think it might be promising. I set up my light trap and all and totally forgot. So it's 8:15 now. It's almost dark. So I got to hit that road real quick. I'll come back and do the lights and cook food. Is that a tarantula leg? I decided to head back to this location because I knew there'd be a beautiful view of the sky and that this tree would probably tie the earth and sky together well. Can't say I'm disappointed. Now that's some kind of leaf-footed bug. There's actually some around here that are way bigger than that. Probably about 2.5 times that size. For being such a common find this time of year, a lot of people have never seen an imperial moth before. I find a good 4 or 5 of them every year, and I'm absolutely excited every time. This is a painted lichen moth, and I'm excited because I find them quite pretty to look at. Now, this has to be some kind of stink bug, but I'm not sure what kind. So I'm looking around, and I noticed the earth was moving in that characteristic Bugs Bunny fashion. So curiously, I investigated. Unfortunately, I had to change memory cards and I forgot to film my find. It was a scarab, by the way. My muffin kind of looks like an unhappy ogre. I have a cave troll. Speaking of feeding, check out this little banquet. This is legitimately the first time I've seen a spider feeding on roadkill. I mean, that implies that at least some fishing spiders are opportunists. How cool. This tiny thing is known as a pseudoscorpion. And what's really neat is it is an arachnid, and aside from the lack of tail, it actually looks pretty identical to a scorpion. I mean, you got the cephalothorax, you've got those long pincer-like pedipalps at the front. This thing is only about 1 millimeter long. Now, I said I'd get back to it, and here you go. This is the calligraphy beetle. And it's very easy to see how they got their name because those markings on the elytra look almost like some form of script, like a Middle Eastern scripting or something. Maybe India. And it's just really cool. Some varieties look more like calligraphy than the others. I just find them to be beautiful works of art, and this is only the 3rd I've ever found. Another species for my lichen video that I still have yet to get around to. If I said it once, I've said it 100 times. I absolutely love the Hymenoptera family, especially wasps. Look how beautiful this one is. It's hard to film her without being in the shadow. So I try to make it a point to stop by this memorial, somewhat regularly whenever I'm in the area. This is a memorial to Emilio Carranza, and unfortunately he was on a peacekeeping mission flying from Mexico up to New York and then back again. On his way back from New York, he was coming across the pines, and there was a terrible thunderstorm, and they don't know everything that happened, but at some point his plane went down. He did not survive the crash. That eagle is going downwards, flying down to symbolize that the eagle has crashed. So they built this memorial, in honor of his mission of peace, and it's just a beautiful thing. People come here and leave little things and stuff in honor of him. And I was talking to a guy. He was telling me about how, they found a bunch of, they found some stuff. And this one person actually found a scarf, silk scarf, with a ring with a big diamond on it and stuff. And they gave it to the mayor at the time, and to return to his family. But who knows if that ever happened, because the thing was worth a lot, especially back then. But people in the pines are really cool and stuff, It's not like them to keep things. But this is cool, isn't it? So, yeah, unfortunately, Emilio Carranza was mirroring the Lindbergh mission for the most part. They were both on peacekeeping missions, and in honor of Lindbergh, Carranza was doing the same thing. But he didn't make it. So, see this? This is an oak wasp gall, and this one's actually, they've emerged from this already. Never mind. Oh, it looks like it's gonna rain soon. Maybe I ought to head back to camp. I decided to head 5 miles south, which is a lot closer to base camp, because the rain might hit a little harder than expected. If you're wondering why this dirt pile looks a lot like Utah or Arizona, that's because the soil around the stones gets washed away by the rain. Any of the soil beneath the stones obviously doesn't get washed away, and it creates these tower-like formations. So we've got Utah in miniature. I'm in a sphagnum bog in southern Jersey, and it is hot. I'm just looking around to see what there is to find, hoping to see some snakes, but I don't expect to. It's too hot. However, I did find this beautiful little surprise. It is Pseudotriton ruber, and, well, that is the northern red salamander. Pretty cool. What has me really excited about this find is, I don't know why, but I just always miss these salamanders, and they look really cool. These salamanders prefer, shaded woodland habitats with a great source of flowing water. That water has to be pollution-free and good oxygen content. They like the creeks and streams and springs and stuff. Honestly, even if it's just a mild trickle coming down the hillside, that can often be good enough. The main key to their requirements is very clean water. These sphagnum bogs are a great place when you've got a stream flowing straight through them, as this salamander has. Like most salamanders in this area, they feed on the soft-bodied insects and invertebrates. Sometimes they'll prey on other salamanders, but if there's a nice cricket around, they'll definitely go after that. So I just met another guy, and he pulled up and he's like, what you up to? Just ask him. And so I told him, and then he and I got to start talking, and It's pretty cool. He was in taxidermy for 20 years. You know, he loves wildlife and all that. And he had some good stories, and he was talking to me about the blue tongue illness that went through the deer population here like 10 years ago. And I didn't even know really about it. And we just talked for a while. Really nice guy. We'd still be talking now, but there was another vehicle coming. Had to make room on this bridge. But I mean, seriously, anyone tells you that people aren't friendly in the Pine Barrens, or you got to watch out for those pineys and this and that, they have no clue what they're talking about. You know, they're just hearing stories. You know, that's how stuff spreads. And you know, it's very misinformed. People out here are awesome. Every time somebody says hi, we get to talking. They're just all the nicest people. I love the Pine Barrens. There once was a log covered in moss, and there still is. You know, it's among places like this that are some of the many reasons I just love the Pine Barrens. This should be a place for Monet. I'm sorry, but I'll never get over the disproportionate head size on young fence lizards. I don't know what that sound is. It sounds like lots of caterpillar frass bouncing off my tent. It is the pines. It's August. A little bit late in the year for that, but it's good for the ecosystem. What if it's wasps? Yet another Sphinx moth. This one's a little weathered, but let me show you why they get the name Blinded Sphinx. The forewings actually conceal a pair of eye spots on the rear wings, which are used as a defense mechanism should a predator pursue them. Hey guys, so I've had the lights set up for about an hour and I keep alternating, and I'll try to show you some of the things I found. It's not really an active night. You know, I just found some stuff, but I did find a couple of things for the first time. Actually, these tiny little moths are new to me, so that's fun. This tiny little thing is lichen moth. I actually find them pretty attractive. So this is one of the giant caddisflies, and I think this might be the biggest species in our area. I'm not too sure. Not only are different species active at different times of the night as expected, but of course they also have a preference as to what type of light they're drawn to. The wind's picking up so much, but that's a Hebrew moth. Pretty easy to tell because their designs look like Hebrew. Something just landed behind me. Lately, this year, I've been bringing a UV light with me, a portable ultraviolet light, and just experimenting with it. Most things don't fluoresce. However, some stuff does fluoresce, and it's really interesting. It's pretty cool stuff. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But you gotta click the bell icon, because if you don't, YouTube will never let you know when a new video of mine comes out. And remember, passion inspires spirit.